What's going on? Common Sense TV here. So today I want to talk about women and men and in the context of dating and reciprocity in these relationships that we have out here today. And what I mean by reciprocity, what I mean by that, it means one person giving and then naturally the other person should be giving back at the same level, the same rate. And I hear a lot of guys out here talking about that women, they just take. The first date, for instance, a guy goes out, he invites a woman out on a date, and he should pay. I mean, let's face it. If you're into her and you invite her out, you should pay the first time, no doubt about it. Whether it be coffee, whether it be, I don't take women out to dinner on the first date. Let's just be clear about that. I don't do that. I think it's bad. If you're going to go on the first date, you really should be going out for coffee, maybe a drink, something simple. You shouldn't be coming out the pocket $50, $60 on the first date. It's just not worth it. Okay, anyway, first date, you should cover it. Second date, again, it's up to you. You might want to take her out to dinner. Again, for me, I might just do something simple. I might go out again for drinks, maybe go out for appetizers. Could be dinner. It depends on, the situation. Second date, you pay. Cool. Now, when it comes around to the third date, normally I invite her out, or she says, hey, yeah, let's go out. I might say, yeah, okay, let's go out. And then when the check comes, I'm looking and waiting for her to pick that check up, to see if she's going to say, hey, you know what? I appreciate your time as well. Let me pay for this meal, or let me pay for this drink. Now, I admit a lot of the women that I've dated, they normally pick up the check on the second or third date. They normally do. Because I can kind of spot the women who really, are really into themselves and the ones who don't pick up the check at all. They'll keep going third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh dates. And I really would kind of encourage men, you want to stay away from women like that. I don't deal with women like that at all. I can kind of sense that. How? I just can, because I've been dating long enough, and I can kind of sense when women are very narcissistic or into themselves. I can sense that. So I kind of steer clear of those women who don't want to give back. But, if you're going on a date with a woman, and this is the third, fourth date, and she still hasn't offered to pay, I mean, why? I mean, why are you still messing around with her? I mean, what? I mean, I don't know. For me, I wouldn't do it. I remember a long time ago when I was in my mid-20s, and there was this girl. She was hot. I gotta give it to her. She was hot at the time, and I was young. I didn't know any better. But we go out for the first date, and for the first date, I took her out to a restaurant, and this chick was ordering stuff, like the expensive stuff on the appetizer menu, ordering drinks. I'm like, what? Well, I said no, I don't. I was like, the waiter comes out. The waiter's like, do you want appetizers? I'm like, no. She's like, yeah, I want the coconut shrimp. I'm like, come on, man, it's like $14. I'm like, well, we don't need that. But anyway, I didn't say anything. Went ahead and let her go ahead and get it, because you want to look good. You don't want to look like you're cheap. So I let her go ahead and purchase that, and then I think at the end of the night, the bill came out to between me and her, it came out to close to $90, $95, $100. I'm like, damn, that was a lot to me back then. So anyways, I remember we did that, we went on a date, and then one time she calls me about the blue, right? She calls me about the blue, maybe a week or two later. She said, hey, let's go out. I'm like, yeah? I'm like, okay. I'm like, what do you want to do? She said, let's go out to eat. I'm like, okay. Where are you trying to go? She's like, oh, I'm going to go to this restaurant. I'm like, oh, okay. But in my head, the whole time I was thinking, this is like our second date. I'm like, the whole time I'm thinking, I'm like, wait a minute. If you invite me out on a date, you're going to pay. But I kind of got a hint from that first date what kind of chick she was. So I was like, oh, okay, you want to go out? I said, well, I just said it. I said, you got us? She said, what do you mean? I said, you got us? Like, as far as, you're going to take me out? She said, no, you're going to pay. I'm like, and then at that point, I was like, how you going to, I said to myself, I was like, how this chick is going to call me up, invite me out to dinner, and then ask me to pay? I'm like, how stupid do you think I am? And, I was like, nah, I can't make it. Nah, I can't do it. And needless to say, after that, we didn't see each other anymore after that. We didn't do it. I was like, I'm not having it. But a lot of these women out here, they're really, I don't know, man. Like, I guess any woman out here nowadays who is constantly and repeatedly trying to make a man pay for dates after the second, third, fourth date, and she's not offering to pay, I don't see why you're going out with her, because really, honestly, that type of behavior is inexcusable. Because women always want to say, well, the man should always take the woman out. That's not necessarily true. The way it goes is that normally whoever asks who out, that's the person that should pay. So technically, I mean, if she asks you out on the second date, she should pay. And I've had that happen to me before. I've had women pay second date. They're like, yeah, I got it. Don't worry about it. I've had women pay on the first date. But it's not about it's not an ego thing. It's about who's asking who out. And really, how do I know if you're into me if you're not willing to show me, by paying? I don't know. Maybe you're just out along for a free ride and free drinks. I don't know. And, I tell women all the time, you need to let us know. We have feelings too. We want to feel like that we are desired, so show me. Hey, I appreciate your time. Here, I'll pay for dinner. I'm like, okay, nice, thank you. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that. But what's going on now is that some women out here, not all women, some women, what they're doing is they're still using this old mentality, saying that all men should pay, right? And this is an old mindset. It came from the ages of when our grandmother or our parents were living back in the 60s, because women didn't have the equal opportunity that they have right now. Women didn't have the jobs, they didn't have careers, they didn't have the money, right? Women have that right now. I mean, some women may not make as much money in the workplace as men do. I get that. But women have their own money. Let's just be honest about this. They have their own money. So if you have your own money and you have careers, and women are in college now at higher rates than men, and they're becoming more and more dominant in the workplace in corporate America, what would make you think that those old rules still should apply? See, this is where the disconnect comes from me. Women bond to this whole thing of feminism, and women's rights, women's rights is great. Feminism, I'm not a fan of. But anyway, women have bought into this whole thing of feminism, right? That started back in, probably the 70s and all throughout the 80s and the 90s. I'm a 90s woman, right? That's great. But now the tables are starting to level off. And some women have surpassed men, depending on what community that you live in. If you're a black man, most black women have surpassed black men. Let's just be honest about this. So anyways, with that being said, you can't use that as an excuse and say, I expect chivalry and you should be paying for me all the time. No, that's out the window. You can't have your cake and eat it too. I mean, let's just be honest. If a woman is really into a man, you should let it be known. Let it be known that you're into this man. And, go out of your way to show him. I'm not saying you should be a fool for anyone, but at the same time, let him know. Like we let you know. I think a man should pursue a woman. But after the man pursues, there's a point in time where a woman has to step up and say, hey, listen, I'm into you. Let me show you how much I'm into you by paying for your meal. Let me show you how much I'm into you by me surprising you for this on your birthday or whatever else. That's what you expect. I would never deal with a woman who's not going to reciprocate. I wouldn't do it on a long-term basis. I never have, and I never will. Because to me, she's a waste of time. She's self-centered. She can only see her needs. And depending on why you want this person around, if it's a relationship, the relationship is going nowhere fast. It's going to be nothing but headaches, arguments. It's going to be one-sided. And she's never going to understand because she's selfish. So you're just setting yourself up for a lot of headaches and stress, and you don't need that. So I guess that's something to think about. Anyway, thanks for listening. Like the video, share it, and subscribe. Peace.